waiting on you.
Let's call over the meeting of the Board of Aviation Commissioners. Start with the roll call.
Bogdan.
Here.
Davin. Billion.
Here.
Morrison.
Here.
Witt.
Here.
Approval of minutes from July.
Motion approved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Curtis, right to you.
All right.
Great to see you all in person today.
Yeah, you too.
Been a little bit, a lot of activity happening at the airport, and also some things teed up. I want to just run down the agenda here. First thing was AIP grant stuff. All the dates are in, or all the applications are in by the due dates. They are being processed. I've had a little bit of dialogue with FAA on the SRE. We've had, I'll say, some math errors or on the Buy American waiver completed by the vendor. Trying to get all the percentages to add up and all that, so we got all that corrected, resubmitted. So if they're looking at it at that level, it's actually pretty encouraging to me that it's moving forward and getting programmed. I would expect something in early to mid-September on that grant offer, and we've been notified by other project managers that that offer will come electronically, and they're wanting a 2 to 3 day turnaround by the time that comes signed and returned. That's including signatures from the attorney. So if you guys would be prepared for that and ready to go.
Who's it going to go to?
I'll probably go to Phil, copy to Bill, a copy to Mark, because he's the one that's still on the electronic distribution, and I believe you should get a copy of that when it comes electronically, Jeff.
Okay.
So
When I get it, I usually give Phil the heads up to look for it.
yeah, make sure it doesn't go to your spam folder.
Yep.
As so we'll send all that out. And that's about all I have on the FAA grants. On just general items, Bill was able to beg, borrow, and steal a backhoe and a bulldozer, apologize me, and got some grading done at the end of the runway. That was the little hump of dirt that was impacting the approaches at night. He successfully graded that to 0.2 feet below the runway, and you know, a pretty good eye for an old guy, you know. No wonder he's such a good shot. And so we have filed that new elevation, those surfaces with FAA, put it in the database, and that is starting to get processed. I do expect that to take several months to reconcile, though, but at least it's moving forward there.
Great. I didn't even realize we were moving on it. At least the
Did
last
you see
I
it down there?
No,
Pile of dirt on the
no.
south side?
I haven't been down there. Where'd you push off to?
The contractor told me several times the keys are in everything when we leave. So there were 2 bulldozers there and a very large payloader, and I called John Langfeld to see if he'd show me how to run the payloader. He said, I'm out west on vacation, call Daddy, he needs something to do. So Paul Langfeld came out, and I couldn't find the key to the payloader, but the key to the small bulldozer was there. He got there, I already had it running, and he said, well, I'll go run the big one if I can find the key. And he found the key, and I made a mess, and he did a nice job of pushing everything off. And we just piled it up to the east, and then I talked to the contractor the next day, and the foreman said we'll just load all that out of there when we get ready to, because they're going to have to backfill and put everything in grade with some topsoil. And
Yeah.
with topsoil, he said we'll just load it all out when we're doing that, and he said we'll back drag it and smooth it out when we're done. Mark said he would talk to the people that are going to hydro seed. He said it's not that big of an area, and I'll get them to hydro seed it as well. So
Well done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
that
So
was a late Friday night that I was expecting to be gone by noon, that ended up being there till 6. So, but got that thrown out of our side, I think.
And at
Yeah.
no costs.
Yeah.
That's huge.
And nice that they were right there with their GPS, very accurate equipment, and he took
Yeah.
readings in about 5 different places, and the highest area up the hill was where we were real close to being right at it. So the lower areas, it looks too high if you look at it, but it's because of the way the it goes down into kind of a swell and then starts coming back up, and it looks high, but it's because of that lower swell. Visually, it's not, so.
Awesome.
So, well done, thank you, and like I said, we're taking care of the paperwork side of that. All right, going to AIP grants, the old AIP 26, IIJA Hangar 1. Again, got the hangar door re-welded, all that corrected, and Michiana is going to come and replace some spalled concrete, chip it out, they have some electrical duct bank and pouring for final electric, and they're going to just, when they have a little leftover from a truck, they're going to run over there and just kind of finish that off, keep punch list items going. Reimbursement for that last little bit, around $33,000, is still on tap for 26, though. It's eligible, it just wasn't under this grant, so we haven't forgotten. We'll keep that going forward. Any questions about the old AIP 26 hangar? All right, AIP 27, parallel taxiway. Again, a lot's happened. We now have all the subgrade has been fixed, undercut, stabilized, rock has been placed and rolled. Pavement edges for the asphalt pavement marked, crown, blue topped, and we are ready for some smooth black stuff to go down next week, and it is exciting. And looks with the weather forecast and all that, looks like that's all on tap. So we are actually ahead of schedule, actually on budget, and a little under on a couple, a little over on a couple, but it's balancing out. And things are looking really good, and being ahead of schedule will actually be a little bit of savings on the construction services side as well, which is wonderful to do. And with that, we have a small change order that's dealing with the overs and unders. One of the things that we do is, if we had 100 gallons of paint and you go to 101, we can only pay for the 100 gallons until a change order is invoked for any overs. And then what we try to do is items that are already completed that are under, we try to balance out those overs with that. And that is what this change order number 1 that I'm presenting to the board is. And it's actually a increase of $55,000, a decrease of $54,500 for a net change of $934 on a $2.7 million grant. That's really not too shabby. And that is dealing with a section of unsuitable subgrade that when they graded the subgrade, we hit a really soft area and had to dig down a little bit further, put a geogrid in there, put some rock in there and bring that back up, and then we could finish doing the subgrade underneath. And that was unclassified. The area got a little bit larger than we had guessed at the beginning because there's no way to know. And so just measuring those quantities out. And the deducts are dealing with called separation fabric as opposed to a structural geogrid. This is more like a paving fabric. That and coarse aggregate that we did not have to put in as a result of doing the undercut, so we're able to balance it out, and that's at 934. So I do ask for board approval or further discussion on change order number 1.
This afternoon.
Of the undercut? No, I didn't get to talk to Mark today.
Mark may have been gone for his late today. Right where the tax delay will attach to the existing tax.
Oh, I didn't know that was going to happen.
Okay.
And that quantity was already predetermined, and it's in this change order. Sorry, thank you.
So I move we accept the change order as presented.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you. Before I forget, for signatures.
All right.
All right. And then Michiana on the electrical side, they're a little bit stalled out right now until the paving is done. And once that's done, then they can do their taxiway edge lights. They have all the precast cans just sitting on site ready to go. Matter of trenching it in, pulling wire, setting those cans, and they said that should take about 3 to 4 days for them to do the remainder part of their electrical work once the paving is complete. So we're really close to smelling the finish line. on the paving. We'll have some temporary marking. It's going to need to sit for about a month. Let that asphalt cure and bake, let all those oils kind of burn off, and then we can do final marking, weather permitting on that. So that's kind of the, so we'll be open, and then we'll have to close for about a day, remark the taxiway finally here in October, most likely, and then it'll be fully open again.
When does it, you said it sit for a month. That's closed for a month?
No, we'll do temporary markings.
Okay.
What will happen is the yellow is going to turn kind of gray as the oils soak into that paint and discolor it, and you won't get the reflectivity. So after a month, that chemical reaction is stopping, and then we can do a final marking. So we'll paint, open up to traffic, close for a day, repaint, and open up and get out of your hair. All right. We also have, for action items here, last thing I attached in the engineer's report, the weekly reports, just for summary. If you're just dying for some bedtime reading, I encourage you to pull those out. You can tell that we laid 227 feet of, pipe or other things like that, guaranteed to help you better than cheap. But they're there for you to be informed on what you want. Also, we had some Davis-Bacon. Davis-Bacon is the federal wage raise, make sure we're paying federal dollars, so make sure we're paying people with proper federal benefits and all that. And Bill has gone ahead and reviewed and signed those letters, just for your awareness. And those will be happening on a monthly. Every time we get a pay app, we'll have those wage rate review letters. We do have a pending RFR number 5 that will contain 2 contractor invoices. It'll be invoice number 4 from Michiana and milestone pay app number 1. And I'm just, pull those out. The milestone pay app is for $238,341.15, and the Michiana pay app is $18,117.80. All of that is FAA reimbursable, so as with approval of these invoices, we will then finalize the preparation of the RFR, the request for reimbursement to FAA, and Phil, I'll send it up for your signature real quick, and then we'll get that submitted so we don't have to hold, we're just a couple days behind in that RFR. I didn't want to make the contractors wait a month to get paid for that level of investment. So I'm asking for approval of these invoices and then authorization to submit the RFR as soon as it's prepared.
Move to accept the invoices as presented. Second.
All in favor? Aye.
All right. And then last item on the agenda is the snow removal equipment. Talked about the status of that at the very beginning, but I do have one board action, and that is to catch up on the Wolpert invoice that we did for all the bidding services and coordination. That Wolpert invoice is $3,972, and ask for approval of that Wolpert invoice. There is no RFR for that because we don't have a grant for that yet, but that will be reimbursable as soon as that grant comes, and we're expecting that again next month.
To accept that invoice as presented.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
And that concludes my engineer's report, unless there are questions from the board or others.
Okay, we got something?
Yeah, we're on schedule, everything out there, so there was no delays so far on this summer.
Yeah, we're actually a little over a week ahead of schedule. Weather, in spite of being very erratic, has come at the right times and allowed us to do what we need to do. Paving's been delayed about a day from where they wanted, but we're still several days ahead of where the original schedule had it.
Okay.
This is more of a question for Bill. You're probably thinking about this already, but just as we get towards the point where we were talking about, opening up the taxiway with temporary markings and so on and so forth, I assume you're thinking about like updating the NOTAMs, and I don't know if we have any signage out there, just so we don't inadvertently have people on it when we don't want them on it, or that they realize, oh yes, it's available for use,
Yep.
so, good, okay.
NOTAM's been pretty active lately with closings. They've been real good to work with by getting the work done early in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been entering NOTAMs for early morning, and because of them being out near the runway, and been good to work with. And I just renewed, I had a NOTAM that the taxiway was closed when all this started from years ago. And I happened to catch just the other day in class with my kids that ended September 1st. So I did renew that one as well, just so that we can stay on top of it and get it open when we need to.
Has Lyft had any problems with the construction out there?
Nope, Lyft was great to work with this year. They had a great year with Culver. No issues.
Airport diagram update for like 4 flight. Do we know what's
That'll
up?
all be done once it's complete. I'm guessing Wolpert will.
Yeah, we'll do
take
that as
care
part of our as-built process, and we submit a pen and ink final ALP airport layout plan to the FAA as well, so that most likely will happen October, November, get that submitted, and then the next chart publication might be January, February. I don't know the schedule, but before you'll see that change, it'll be early next year.
Okay,
Great.
thank you.
Yeah,
All right,
thank you.
thank you all. Great to see you.
You too. Bill?
Okay, so Curtis covered the first thing on my list of getting that topsoil moved. We have a new lit windsock that's been installed. And I got a compliment on it today that it's easier to see the sock, and they also have confidence that it's correct now, that it's straight up and down instead of having a big curve at the top of it where the hinge on it was broke. The sock itself with the pole and the lighting, that whole kit was around $7,000. I have not seen a bill yet from Michiana for the install. They had a couple of guys there for a couple of days. There was some lighting equipment that was attached to the old pole that they had to redo a bunch of that and running the wire to it. I got a PO approved for $3,500. I hope that it's considerably less than that, but I'm always surprised with Michiana on how expensive some of that work is. So I'm hoping that that will cover it. So we'll end up with around $10,000 in that new sock. So not bad considering what was originally quoted for
Right.
moving it and everything.
Does that come with like a second canvas sock?
It does not, but AdFuel gives us a new one once a year.
Okay.
So I can get a new one for free once a year. It did come with a sock, but so I can get new ones each year. Covered entry. If you look at the picture up on the screen, to the left of the door is a concrete pad that's about 5 foot square. That was originally about a 3 foot square pad that the condenser to the right of the door was sitting on, and that pad was just sitting on top of the stones. That condenser was very close to the door, and one of the return lines to it was kinked very badly. In fact, when the HVAC guy came out, he said, "This works." Yeah, it did, but he was surprised that it did. So he disconnected it. I pulled the old pad with some old nylon door straps in the tractor, pulled it around to the back, just drug it, and then I had one of the retired city employees that worked on the concrete crew doing sidewalks, that's a good friend, came out and he directed us through mixing up 11 bags of concrete and putting it in there, and then he finished it for us, so it came out real nice. That'll allow us to move the condenser a little bit further away from the door from what it was before, and that is the door that all of the students use for the CTE program, as well as it being Gary's door and the lift door. So a few years ago we had ice storm, and for a week we had ice coming off the roof there, and I had to close all of the doors on that side of the building for safety's sake. So now we think we've got that taken care of. I've got an electrician plan to come out and run an outlet to the outside, and I'm going to get some, my wife calls them bistro lights. To me, they're just
round Christmas tree lights that I will hang in the ceiling of that, so it has some lighting underneath it at nighttime. But it came out real nice and really dresses up that side of the building. We'd like to do a couple of more of them as we can. That was a kit that came from Lowe's. I bought it on sale for $1,800, or normally $2,200, $2,300. It was very labor intensive to build. Took quite a few days with 2 guys working on it. But with our lift, it went together real good and came out looking nice. Right around the corner from that to the left is a 6-foot window in the A hangar. I have a contractor that we've already given a PO to put a 6-foot double door in place of that window, and that'll give us access to that hangar from the parking lot that we've never had before. So the tenants won't have to drive around onto the taxiway to get into their hangar, and it'll also make an excellent entrance to that hangar for the pancake breakfast at Blueberry time. So we're looking forward to getting that done. The contractor called me today, said they'd be out in the next few days to get started on the concrete pad in front of the door. It's the contractor that did the additions to the pretzel factory. When they were doing the first edition, I had conversation, the owner of the company called me about the crane that they had up, and he had done everything correct. Just wanted to let me know that he had done it with the crane for notifying us. He is actually a pilot, has an aircraft, has a hangar at Warsaw that his company built, and one of the guy that came out to give me a quote for the door told me they recently put in a 100-foot door at a hangar over there as well. So they do hangar work. So I thought this would be a nice little job for us to see if we like them, and maybe someone that we might be able to include in quoting in the future for building hangars and maybe for some hangar maintenance if we need it.
Great.
So I thought that came out good.
Will you need to move your security cameras or add one to give coverage on that new door that's going in? Or I assume
I've got great coverage of it now.
Oh, okay.
Yep, got great coverage of it now.
Good. Just thinking with another door, that's probably something we want on
Yep.
camera in case
Absolutely,
folks come and go.
absolutely. Let's see, double door I talked about. Culver Academies had a great summer camp with Lift Academy. They did have a student solo. I was shocked that Lift allowed them to solo in their diamonds, but they did. And I guess they had almost a dozen kids that they took over to Goshen for the written test that passed their written tests. I guess they flew close to 700 hours, which is a big number for them. So Culver was very happy with the way the summer went with Lift Academy. Paving, Curtis talked about. They're running a test strip on Thursday, and then after that passes, of course, we'll be moving on. One thing I don't have on here, Steve Hupka will be very happy to know, and I got to remember to tell him when I see him at the airport, that we have started painting the exterior support beam on the new hangar door. That was one of the things, if you remember, Steve asked about all the time.
Yeah.
The red paint that was on it as a primer, we started to see some rust areas, and so we have since got some black paint to paint it. Dominic, our summer help, is gone as of last Friday, but he did use the lift, as this thing is about 10 foot in the air, and painted all the rust spots and the undersides. It's hard to get at, so it just leaves the rest of it. It should be fairly easy to paint whenever we get around to it. We've been very busy with projects like that, and gotten a lot done this summer, but that's one of them that Joe will get back on once we get caught up on some things. We've started mowing today with the new taxiway. There was a lot of property there that we always only had to mow about 3 times a summer. Now we've got all that property we're going to have to mow every week, so there's going to be a lot more mowing, and I started working on that yesterday to try and get some of the stuff that's about 10 inches tall knocked down shorter, so we can start getting it used to being cut short. So, and as I have money available, I've even considered seeing about hiring somebody just to mow a couple of days a week, because it's going to be a lot of extra work. Other than the runway and grounds inspection report, the one last thing that I have is June 13th of next summer. We are discussing about having an event at the airport, and with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Witt.
Yeah, so I think I floated this idea, or maybe it was mentioned sometime a year ago, but as a fundraising effort for Alpha Flight, a running race, which I'm passionate about, and aviation, which I'm also passionate about. I'm always looking for ways to merge the two. So I'd like to hold a 1 mile and a 5K race out at the airport. Bill and I have talked about it. We talked about what the map would look like. It would be after graduation at Culver, before lift really gets taken off. So it's kind of a sweet spot in summer. So it's low activity because we would close the airport for half a day, no traffic. And I anticipate it would be quite a bit of traction. I've got several different areas that I would market it in. I'm also in charge of the Blueberry Stomp, so I'm familiar with putting on these types of events. But it would be an aviation themed day. I've already been in touch with Gary Cleveland, and he'd be excited to give helicopter rides that day. A couple other ideas that we're floating around to try and get more just non-running but aviation stuff scheduled that day. And just make kind of a half a day event out there. It'd be a great showcase for the new taxiway, and even for years to come, because my hope is that it would grow into be an annual event, just getting people out to the airport that wouldn't normally be out there once a year, which would be, I think, pretty exciting. I'm super pumped about it, because like I said, it's two things that I'm really passionate about, so it's labor of love for me, so I'd be excited. So. If there's any questions?
I suggested to Dr. Witt that we talk about it in the meeting and maybe to make it formal. I'm sure he'd be willing to make a motion that we use the airport for the event and just get it on the books and get it so everyone's in agreement that we do it. I'm all for it. We've already had a couple of brainstorming discussions on some things that we can do to make it a really good event, and I think Dr. Whittle will make sure that it is. We'll have discussions with, I don't know if you've talked to Alpha Flight yet or not, but
I did a year ago, and I'm still waiting.
Thinking of it being scholarship money for students for flight training kind of thing. But I thought it was a great idea and wanted to, like I said, get it on the record that we've discussed it here and maybe a vote that everybody's for it. Hopefully, you would be.
One moment. I'm aware of 2 other airports in the state that do airport runs. So if you're looking for some other ideas or struggles that they have or things, lessons learned, we can connect you with them for this event.
Yeah. Do you know what they are? Because I knew Chicago Exec does it, and I knew there was one in Indiana, but I can't remember now off the top of my head.
It's not one of my clients. I remember the guys talking about it, and I want to tell you the wrong one, so let me just email it up.
I know there's nothing, at least immediately near us, so it would be truly unique to the area. South Bend, I think we'd get a big draw from them. But yeah, especially if we do, we've talked about even having an Army there with the Black Hawk. I mean, just really like making it this big. I could really see this growing to be a pretty big deal. Not year one, it never is year one, but word of mouth's pretty powerful. I could say 5 years down the road, this being just as big as the Stomp, with it, if it's done correctly.
I think anything that presents the airport in a positive context is only good, right? I think that in some, it's probably intangible. Like, you can't point to something and say, well, because of this occurred. But I think a lot of folks probably that have lived here for a long time go, we had an airport, so I think anything that presents it just has the airport in a positive context is a good thing.
Yeah.
Another good-sized crowd in Plymouth area is the car people, Hoosier Tires and all.
Yeah.
Aaron's Field in Winamac every year Cleveland does helicopter rides, the Mentone Flying Club does airplane rides, and then there's a big car show at the same time.
Yeah.
And then adding a run to it, no big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good idea.
But car show people would like to go out and show their cars.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, totally, yeah, sounds awesome. And obviously, it'll be, just gotta make sure everything's done as far as, I don't know, all the insurance stuff and all that kind of deal, if there's anything with that. But concept-wise, sounds like you got a great hold of it. It's awesome. So we have complete support from, I think, all of us.
Yeah.
Just whatever, if there's any don't know if there's any hoops or anything for that, or does the pancake guys do anything? You know, I just think when you have people on, you know, I don't know, maybe there's nothing to that, but,
Yeah, no, the insurance is a good point, to be honest. I haven't thought about it. We don't do anything for the Blueberry Stomp.
Okay.
Which is on state and city roads. I don't
Right.
know if it being on public
So
property.
you would want to have some sort of liability insurance. Usually for a one-day event, you can get an event policy just to cover that day
Yeah.
for
because
maybe a couple $100.
Yeah.
the Blueberry probably does, I mean, you don't for the Stomp, but I'm sure the
Oh,
Blueberry
sure.
has all
Yeah,
their
yeah,
own stuff,
yeah.
so.
And we might be encompassed in that.
Oh,
And actually, I think I
everybody-
take that back. I think we did get a policy for the Stomp.
And certainly any
My
ranch
wife
you sign
handles
up
that
for
piece.
Awesome statement. Anything you sign up for, you sign a waiver saying, hey, I understand what I'm doing and I'm
Yeah.
waiving everybody of any
And our intentions are to probably have
obligations.
firemen EMTs out there, maybe one of their big trucks as well.
Yeah.
Sounds
We have
absolutely
connections
awesome.
to a med flight pilot that we might be able to get a med flight set in there for the day kind of thing, if nothing else, for them to do an outreach day for them, as well as being there if we need them.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So,
Just thinking about other things we've talked about here, it seems like there's, and I don't want to go too far in the weeds, but it seems like there's probably 3 things we want to check off, right? The city, any requirements the city has in terms of insurance, liability, just we've covered those things. Anything from I was thinking of the FAA, and sometimes they're very particular about when items that are not directly related to aviation occur at a facility where we've made grant assurances when we've accepted their money.
that's why we thought we'd tie aviation into it with the
Yeah, well, I think
helicopters
that's
and
good.
some of the
I
other
think we just want
things.
to make sure we have
Yep.
that box checked. And then there was a third thing, and I honestly can't remember what it is right now.
And to go along with that, I'll tell you that sitting at conference, I told the head of NDOT Aviation about the Sunday morning that we closed the runway and had that Volkswagen TikTok commercial
Oh, yeah.
filmed, and that I had charged him $5,000 for the use of the runway for the morning. And his response was, that sounds like a great use of the airport for making money for the airport. So
Yeah.
I thought I'd be in trouble, and they thought it was
cool.
They thought it was great. It worked out to be a great day for it because it was foggy and nobody was going to fly anyway. But they thought it was great that we used it in that capacity to make some money for the airport, and was a kind of a half-day closure sort of thing.
The FAA piece, that might be where Curtis can help us just think about regulatory things that we're not thinking of because we're not in that world all the time. Just,
And I can reach out to, I can't speak to the Indiana airports that do it because I don't know, but I would imagine the Chicago exec airport has all their Ts crossed and Is dotted, so I can try and reach out to the race director there and see if there are any.
And they have a lot more traffic than we do.
Evansville
Okay,
and Indianapolis International,
Ooh.
okay.
both have a 5K.
Well, I'll probably just stick with Indy then, keep them in state. Okay.
That's awesome.
yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah, and I can give periodic updates as things come up, but it's, since it's not until June, there's not gonna be a whole lot of traction on it for a while. I've already got logos and awards and all that stuff already set, ready to go. The website's built. It's just, nothing's live yet.
I was thinking I might run it by
Cool.
the city council as well to let them know that our board is on board with it. And what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you don't need permission from the council or the Board of Works,
Right.
but it's probably a good idea to update them and let them know.
Okay. I wanted to wait till we had this conversation and then.
Yeah.
So
Well, we'll do
I
it.
plan on starting an advertisement for it Blueberry Stomp weekend for obvious reasons. I got a crowd of 900 people that are always looking for races. So as long as there's no objection or legality thing I need to look out for, I plan on having some signage up at the pavilion when we have the stomp.
No, I think it'd be helpful, like Bill suggested, if the board takes a formal vote in support of it.
Okay.
Okay.
From there, things just matter of working out the details.
Well,
I
I can,
move that we lend our support to this proposed event on June 13, 2026, involving a foot race and other activities yet to be determined.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I,
Thank you.
I do have a question on the opening of the runway in light of trying to bring positive attention to the airport. Does it seem silly to have like a grand opening of it when it can officially be opened?
I was planning to do some kind of a ribbon cutting and
Okay.
invite the mayor and some
Okay.
people out.
Awesome.
Yep, certainly was planning that.
Does it have to be during business hours? I'd love to be able to be there.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't at all, and I figured I would probably even invite some state representatives.
I was gonna say-
They always look for an opportunity to get their face in the paper on
Well-
something like that when there's federal grants involved. And
Certainly that's true, but also I think at different times we've leaned on those folks to help. I can't remember if it was with the snow removal equipment or if it was this item. but-
Oh, I lean on Jack Jordan every chance I can get.
Well,
just
that's true, Jack
because
was
of
here,
the-
yeah, that's true, so
Just
yeah,
because of the
absolutely.
relationship.
Yeah,
but,
they've been helpful to us,
Yep.
so.
So,
Bill,
Yes,
if
sir.
you do the ribbon cutting, Wolfburg can like buy barbecue or do something like that.
Oh, wow.
For that, or
okay.
No, definitely can't be during business hours.
Yeah. Maybe a Saturday morning or something that we can.
You want to make sure you include the Chamber of Commerce and MCEC in that also, to promote it as an economic development tool.
Okay.
That sounds awesome.
And one last thing, since Jeff mentioned that, Chamber of Commerce and MCDC, is that right?
MCEDC.
MCEDC?
Marshall County Economic Development Corporation.
Okay. We have been having some meetings, and when I say we, I mean a couple of the city council members, Jeff, the mayor, a lady that's been pushing some development in the city. We've involved Wolpert now about doing some developing at the airport and trying to find a way to do some developing at the airport without having to wait for federal money all the time. One piece being Alpha Flight needs a big hangar. They are working towards having a 147 FAR-AIM Part 147 authorized maintenance program, and they are partnering with Ivy Tech to be a Ivy Tech provider for A&P schooling maintenance type program. And then of course they want to add it to the CTE program as well. With that, they're going to need a large hangar to have a maintenance program in. We're discussing a large hangar that they could move everything into and have their flight school run out of it as well. We've had a couple of meetings. The last meeting we discussed more in depth as to where it could be on the airport, and we're going to have another meeting again on September 9th, which is our next board meeting night. The plan is to meet at 5 o'clock so we can have an hour, a little over. The last two have lasted just shy of an hour and a half, so that way we can be before this meeting, discuss it. That way Curtis can make one trip, and of course with his expertise of what some of the things are going to cost that we want to do. And they've been brainstorming some ways to come up with some money for us to be able to do these kind of infrastructure improvements, again, without trying to wait for the money from the FAA, which we kind of have all of our FAA money spoken for the next several years for projects that we've got planned. So I just wanted to put that out there, that if any of you were available or wanted to attend, 5 o'clock, September 9th, possibly in here if there's no other meetings, and possibly in the mayor's conference room. If you're not familiar with that, it's just down the hall and to the left, but if there's enough people, we may end up in here, I'm guessing. But I wanted to put that out, yeah. Yep.
No more than 2 of you can attend.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
You can't have a quorum.
So the discussions right now have been fuel farm, and how desperate we are to get a new fuel farm started, being built, above ground tanks and hangar for Alpha Flight are the two major things in mind. One of the city council members is really pushing for the runway extension as well. But obviously we know what we need the most, and it's fuel farm and big hangar for Alpha Flight so they can continue to grow And of course, we all know the FAA extension of the runway is going to be down the road, need the traffic. If we do it ourselves, it's going to be a pretty big chunk for anyone to bite off, no matter where they're going to find the money. So these other things are things that we're working towards first. So that's kind of what's driving the conversation at this point. So there's been some talk of possibly a bond if the rent could service it. There's conversation of some economic development money through ready grants and some other avenues that we might be able to find some money. So that's what we've been discussing. If you have any interest, you can give me a call when we get closer to that date and see what we've got going.
It's exciting.
That's all we got.
That's good. Thanks.
Okay. The only other thing is the grounds and financial reports.
Move to accept the runway and grounds inspection report and the July 2025 financial reports that were distributed. Runway and grounds inspection report is on the back of the airport manager's report, and the financial reports were distributed previously via email. So move to accept all those.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anything else from anybody?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Our summer helper's last day was last Friday. I think he had a great summer.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
He got to do a lot of interesting things. We got him up in an auto gyro for a lesson for some auto gyro guys that were in. We got him up in a Satambia for some acrobatics. We got him up in a couple of